Here today with Jason Aristides, the founder and CEO of OpenTug. We'll be discussing OpenTug as a software as a service company and its offering to the maritime and offshore industry. Jason, to start, please give us your background with insights on when and why you made the decision to start a software as a service solution and company for the maritime sector.
Thank you so much, Celia. Really appreciate the opportunity to be on the show and share the good news about OpenTug and what we're doing to help maximize the inland river and maritime logistics ecosystem. To start why I started OpenTug, I'll take you back to my first day of college when I began building technology to help try optimize different industries. And very quickly, I started getting a job at a great company called Foss Maritime, where I was working as an intern. And I was doing all this technology stuff on the side, building trading algorithms to automate my own trading, building software for investment banks. But I got the opportunity to work firsthand at a great marine transportation company like Foss. I got to see the massive amounts of freight they were moving to remote places in the world and really saw the value that the barge industry provided to the American economy firsthand. But I noticed that there was a lot of unpredictable things that occurred on almost every shipment, and barges would move one way, empty frequently. I recognized there was a great need for optimization, but if we're able to maximize our usage of barge transportation, ultimately America can be moving larger products at a lower cost. And from the beginning, I've always been very focused on helping create a positive impact in America and the world we're living in today. And I saw barge transportation moves the earth, and I want to help it move more.
Can you give us a little bit of a by the numbers look at OpenTug today using the metrics of your choice? Just something that gives our audience insight onto the size and scale of your operations.
Definitely. We've grown significantly. Before OpenTug was in the market, barges were almost entirely tracked manually. As you're aware, they don't have AIS networks in the US anyways, like tugs do. So we saw that as a big pain point for a lot of shippers and carriers as well. Like all the information about them is coming secondhand, coming over the phone. And since we really started out, we've grown drastically since we've shifted towards providing visibility. We're now tracking over 3,500 barges active every month. We're doing that through a process of AIS, email information, and GPS devices. We've recently deployed over 500 live GPS devices onto barges to start bringing that real-time visibility across the board. We've also innovated an AI system to read voyage orders and traffic updates that went live at the beginning of the year, and we've already processed over 100,000 barge updates coming by email and turning them into a central source. And beyond that, we predict the costs and track voyages. And since the beginning of the year, we've predicted over 10,000 voyages and tracked them to completion, which has been really eye-opening and just amazing to be part of. And our team has grown from roughly 6 people to over 20 people now.
You started to talk a little bit about what things looked like when you started OpenTug. So looking back at the company that you envisioned and you founded, and then looking at it today, how is it most similar and how is it most different?
Definitely. The company has undergone some drastic changes since I originally founded it. We first started to become a barge marketplace, but as we started to build this marketplace platform, we built a lot of software technology, and we learned the barge industry is a very relationship-driven business. And over our time, we built a lot of great relationships, but we also learned that everybody else in the market had great relationships. And we realized that the value wasn't creating a marketplace to create necessarily new relationships. It was to help the existing users of the barge market operate more efficiently with more visibility. And our goal is through doing that, we can help more companies start leveraging barge transportation by providing them with everything they need to start shipping a barge in one platform. So the goal has really remained the same, which is help America leverage more barges, but we're doing it in a different approach. So we took all the technology we had developed for a marketplace and started to apply that to companies' internal operations and connecting existing users of barge transportation. So we've really gone from a marketplace into a SaaS company over the transition really took about a year from realizing that, hey, this is where we can provide the most value to actually executing and on that.
Diving into that even further, what exactly is OpenTug? How does it work? And more specifically, can you dive into the Barge OS and the Liner OS solutions as well?
Certainly. OpenTug and Barge OS specifically is an operating system to help manage barge transportation from the point of quoting your barge, predicting the cost of how much it's going to cost to ship, to tracking, delivering, and validating that the invoice that you receive for all the services is valid according to what happened on the voyage. Our goal is to help optimize the commercial and logistics operations of every barge shipment through a software platform. And LineROS provides a similar service for companies. However, we're focused on providing them a platform that automatically quotes their customers, similar to how an airline booking system works for an airline, but for vessels and barges that are offering liner services.
So we wanted to touch on as well. So there's a quote on your website from you. The quote is, "We don't just see what the industry is, we see what it could be, and we're here to make that vision a reality." So for you, what is that broad kind of 4,000-foot view of the industry today, and what could it be? And then, of course, how will OpenTug help to make that vision, your vision of what the industry is, a reality?
Certainly. I think today, the industry is primarily focused on moving cargo that can't move on the roads today. However, our goal is that we can enable barge to be so accessible by all types of shippers that barges can be moving cargo competitively with other modes of transportation, such as road and rail freight. We believe that today there's a lot of nuances and technicalities that increase the barriers to entry for a shipper to start leveraging barge transportation. And our goal is through technology, through better visibility, easier access, and predictability, we can help all the logistics managers of the world start looking at how they can start leveraging barge shipments for containers for all types of different freight. So, and also even, maybe not even putting it in a container if it can be moved more efficiently through a bulk form of transportation. And to take that even further, we also see certain industry constraints, such as the price of steel and labor has been rising pretty drastically, causing less barges to actually be built. But we see visibility and creating a just-in-time supply chain being the way that we can move more cargo in barges without having to necessarily build more by removing the idle days, the days that people are just waiting for somebody to show up because they didn't know the ETA of that barge. Ultimately, we want to create more barge days through better visibility and help more shippers leverage barges.
It's generally said that this industry, particularly inland, coastal, and Great Lakes sectors, can be a bit conservative or a bit slow to adopt new next generation solutions. Is this what you and your team have found? Have you found something different? And if so, what are some ways that you've been able to open up adoption and discard kind of the business as usual mindset?
Certainly, in our experience, the industry has shifted from being very conservative to now being more open. There's a variety of things that are coming into play there. Obviously, one is younger people are starting to come into these roles with new ideas they want to see get implemented to make more change. Another thing is obviously the increase of just the world is going online. Like, if you ask anybody, will the world be more online in 5 years than it is today? I mean, I can't imagine really how it would be much more, but I think we all agree that more people will be online. But the third thing, and I think the most important thing, is aligning on, our goals and outcomes that we want to see. If we align on the fact that we want to help more shippers use more barges, they begin to be more receptive to using technology because how do we get to that goal? Well, we do it together through technology. And I think that excites people no matter how conservative they are. More freight on barges, more money, that really starts to motivate people.
Looking at the sectors, which sectors specifically, either by locale or by cargo, do you see as ripe business opportunities for OpenTug in the coming 12 months or so?
We're very focused on river transportation, and effectively all cargoes that move on the river are areas that we're focused on. The oil and gas sector, because of the higher value nature of their cargo, the higher demand for visibility on those very, very expensive shipments and very expensive cargo. So that's one area that we've made a lot of traction. But on the grain side and the dry cargo space, while visibility is less of a demand, there's a higher demand for basically reducing the inefficient and idle transit times because the visibility is more limited. You have more downtime. There's high demand for these assets. And if those assets are tied up just waiting because the information is not flowing between all the necessary parties, then they start to see a lot of costs. So I think on the collaborative side and the connectivity side, the dry cargo market is an area that is very focused for us. And then on the visibility side and the real-time visibility side, the liquid market is most attractive at this stage.
Continuing with that, how is OpenTug investing today to ensure it's tomorrow?
Yeah, we're investing heavily. We have just recently raised a funding round from some tremendous maritime investors that own ships. Very great perspective on what the maritime industry needs. So we're bringing on the people from a capital standpoint that have a vast knowledge while as aggressively hiring engineers and salespeople on our internal side. The investment in technology looks a lot towards AI, processing documents like invoices, traffic updates, statement of facts, turning all that data that used to sit in the inbox and used to have to be manually entered into a single suite automatically captured from your email has been an area of heavy investment that we're continuing to ramp up on. Along with the connectivity side, our goal is to help bridge stakeholders together in one platform. So building technology that adds value when more of your counterparties start leveraging is an enabler for us to innovate in an ecosystem that we're building.
If you could share two or three recent case studies in depth which show the tangible results of adopting the OpenTug solution.
Certainly. So since we have multiple stakeholders, I'll take you through a case study or an example for either one of them. One area of focus is helping carriers optimize their logistics. And one of the ways we did that was a certain carrier we're working with in the Gulf and inland river system is they had to provide quotes to their customers. And one of the things you'll know about river transportation, it's highly unpredictable. One day the water levels will be here, the next day you'll be low water. You might have a lock that's delayed for 24 hours or bad weather keeping you in port, but you have to give the customer a price while also protecting yourself. And that took a lot of time for them. And even when they invested a lot of time, they were still coming up with basic assumptions. So what we did was we created an automated quoting platform that takes all of those conditions in account. And we created them a real-time dashboard of the costs for them to go between all the different ports they wanted to quote customers. And it took what used to be a multi-hour process to get a customer quote and turned it into an instantaneous live pricing system. And that has helped them close more deals, price higher, improve their margins. Then on the shipper side, several large shippers that we're working with, they would spend hours every day trying to consolidate the statuses of their barges. They have a lot of different stakeholders that need to know when are these barges going to show up? When can I give you more cargo to start moving? And in order for them to make those decisions, everybody needed to be on the same page. And it's not just about where is this asset currently located? It's about, is it authorized to go to dock yet? Does it have the right prior cargoes on it? when is it expected to arrive? And ultimately, we leveraged all the data sources we could, such as all the updates are getting via email. We deployed live tracking devices on all the barges and connected to their voyage management system. And we created a central source of truth of where those barges are, when they're going to show up, and when can you use them again for a next order. And that ultimately really changed the lives of the users we were working with, because they went from spending the majority of their day trying to build and capture this data into making proactive decisions to help optimize their overall supply chain. And both of those experiences were extremely rewarding for us. And I think just really validated our vision of what can be offered to the market through bringing better visibility and predictability